Hey, what's new and exciting? It's Kevin O'Shaughnessy here, and today I'm going to talk about how important the shoulder is to fine-tuning your sitting position. So if that gives you a hint about how to solve your particular problem and you got what you need, thanks so much for stopping by. There's two things you can do on your way out, however. Number one, leave me a comment below and tell me exactly what your issue might be. I do my best to read all of the comments myself. I answer them as quickly as I can. And if I can make a video for you to help you out, let me know. I just need to know where you're having some troubles. The second thing, of course, if you haven't done so already, is subscribe to the channel and adjust the notifications to taste. And for everybody else who wants to see the demonstration, here we go. So last week I talked about how to sit with the guitar, and I was exchanging comments from some dedicated guitar players asking me to do some variations on that method, which makes a lot of sense, of course. Why? Because while the guitars are pretty much in a fixed size, our bodies are not. And so some of the things that I'm demonstrating that fit very well on my body, right, because of the length of my arm or the length of my forearm and such, might not work very well for you. In which case, how do we go about fine-tuning the positions to suit our own, just the size and shape of our own bodies and the mechanics that are going to feel comfortable to us? And I think one of the largely overlooked elements of guitar technique is how important the shoulder is. We talk about the wrist, we talk about the fingers, we talk about holding a pick, elbow mechanics and things like that, but we don't really discuss the shoulder very much. And the shoulder is very important to making our way around the neck. And so before we go into the how of all of this, let's get a little vocabulary out of the way. Okay, the cool part about the shoulder is that it's a ball and socket joint, so it's capable of a wider range of motion than some of our other joints, like the knee, for example, which can only flex and extend. We've only got those two things that the knee can do. That's about it. But the shoulder can do a lot more. For example, when we lift our arm like this, that's flexion. When we go back like this, that's extension. When we lift it up sideways like this, that's abduction. When we bring it close to our body, that's adduction. If we swing our hand out this way, this is called external rotation, okay? And that motion originates from the shoulder, right? Not at the elbow. This comes from the shoulder. And if we go the other way, that's internal rotation. And if we draw circles with our shoulder, that's circumduction. Now, is it absolutely critical that you learn the vocabulary? Not necessarily, but I do think it's a really good idea. At the very least, you want to know what those motions are. Flexion, extension, abduction, adduction, external rotation, internal rotation, and circumduction. Okay, we're not going to use all of those necessarily. If you're playing the guitar, you're probably not going to use all of them, but you might use many of them, and you're probably going to use more than you think. So first, as a quick refresher of last week's video, I talked about sitting in a chair with good posture, and in a video before that, I talked about how to actually find the right position for the guitar on your lap. We're going to review both of them right now. So the posture is pretty easy. You want to roll your pelvis up just a little bit so that the bowl that is your pelvic bone is level. You want to pull your belly button in ever so slightly, but leave your ab muscles somewhat spongy, okay? You don't need to be super tight with this. Just pull it in ever so slightly to help hold that pelvis in place. You lift your sternum up, you let the shoulders fall back. There's a lot of benefits to this. I'll leave a link to the previous video so that you can check that all out. Once you've got that, what you want to do is take your fretting hand, and of course this will be the right hand if you're a left-handed player, and you're just going to lift it up, right? Let the arm hang down, just lift your forearm, and you're going to place the guitar in your hand like so. All right, and basically what you'll see is that this puts the guitar on an angle across your lap, okay? The guitar rests pretty much on your hip like so, and you bend the arm at the elbow, lift it up, and there's the guitar. And there's your position. Here's the cool part. If you've got this position, now of course you can rock this forward, you can rock it back a little bit, and you get the elbow here, or the forearm really is more like it, to kind of hug it into your rib cage a little. If I've got this right, the guitar balances on your hip, leaving this hand free, okay? A lot of people feel like you've got to hold the guitar up. Nothing could be further from the truth. You shouldn't really have any weight on this hand at all. It's all about putting a little bit of weight with the forearm, with your picking arm, against the guitar here, putting a little bit of pressure to hold it against your ribs, and then this hand is free to move about the neck. It's a very cool thing. So now, what if the exact position that I described in the previous videos doesn't actually work for you? What do? Well, this is where knowing those shoulder mechanics can come in very handy. Let's say you've got the guitar basically on this 45-degree angle. It's still not comfortable. Or maybe because your forearm is shorter than mine, you gotta pull the guitar back a little bit like this, but it doesn't feel very comfortable and you really want it to be more forward. So what do you do with that? Well, one of the first things you want to try is you're going to use that external rotation. Okay, you're gonna point your fingers toward the frets you want to play. Now here, I'm pulling the guitar out a little further. You'll notice that my fingers they barely reach the neck. But let's say this is a comfortable position for me. Well, now I can flex that shoulder just a little bit and bring the hand forward. Now this actually doesn't feel uncomfortable at all. It's not like I'm reaching out, and because there's no weight on this hand, this muscle doesn't need to work well, it's probably a combination of muscles. They don't have to work very hard. It's just a little bit of flexion to get the hand more forward, okay? Now, let's say that it's still not quite right. Maybe the thing that you need to do is pull the elbow out, and that's where that abduction comes in. Again, just a little bit to give yourself a little room for the elbow. Now this could all go the other way. Maybe what you need to do is apply a little bit of extension to the arm, right? See how I'm kind of pulling back a little bit, and maybe a little abduction, okay? And then you've got a position that feels comfortable for you. So you see how I'm using the different motions to get my hand to a place where I can get the hand and the guitar to meet in a comfortable place so the notes are easy to play. And yeah, the circular motion, it's to tell you the truth, I mean, unless you're in a Who cover band and you're doing a lot of Pete Townsend stuff, I don't really see a use for the circumduction most of the time. But you never know. It could just be that there's something in my playing that I haven't discovered yet and I haven't analyzed it yet. So that's how you can start using some of these motions. Understanding the motions can help you fine-tune the position. Now here's where these shoulder mechanics really come in handy, and that's in troubleshooting. Let's say I'm in position here and everything is good. The guitar is in the right spot, so my hand reaches the neck efficiently and comfortably, but it still feels really weird, okay? Or I'm experiencing some pain in my wrist. Well, I can look down, I can see the shoulder motions all look good, right? The shoulder positions all look good. I've got a tiny bit of flexion, a little bit of abduction here, and a little bit of the external rotation, and it's a beautiful thing, okay? But if I take the guitar away, it's very obvious that my wrist is bent in a way that's not going to be helpful at all for guitar playing. So now I know that I can lower my wrist and everything feels a little bit more comfortable. But let's say it goes a little further than that. Now, I discussed in another video about how the wrist rotates. Now, this is one of those deceptive things that I found in my playing where I would use the forearm to rotate the wrist. It got my fingers into the right spot, but it created enough of a muscle strain in my forearm that it wasn't comfortable to play for long periods of time. So, what did I need to do? Well, in this case, I could rotate my wrist in a more neutral fashion, but then my fingers might not be quite in the right spot. So what do? I can get almost the same motion using that shoulder abduction. Notice how my hand kind of curves in that same way as rotating my hand this way. It does it this way, right? Now I can keep these muscles straight, and if you remember, there really aren't any muscles in the fingers. It's all tendons that go through the wrist. I can keep that path straight while I put my hand in a place that makes sense to getting these notes to sound with clarity and with efficiency and without any pain. So I hope you found that useful. If you've got any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I do my best to read every single one of them and answer them as quickly as I can. If there is a specific thing that you're having trouble with, let me know in those comments so that if I can address it there, I absolutely will. If I can make a video for you, I will do that as well. And of course, to all of you who are commenting on my videos, if you guys have any potential solutions for anybody here in the community, please share them so that we can help each other out. So go practice the guitar. I hope this helps. And I'm Kevin O'Shaughnessy, and I will see you in the next video.